Hello, everyone, and welcome to our community coffee talk, How to Train Your Campus on Anthology Engage. I can see that as we are at the top of the hour here, we still have quite a few folks joining. So I'm just going to go through a few things slowly as we kick things off and give some more people time to come on in. My name is Tessa Burke. I serve as the Senior Director of Client Success Marketing here at Anthology, and I will be helping to facilitate today's webinar. I know this webinar platform is still relatively new to a lot of us, so I just want to go over a few items before we begin today. And finally, please note that based on Anthology's AI Trustworthy Framework, the use of any third-party AI generator software for note-taking or recording of this session does require consent from all webinar attendees and therefore prior approval from Anthology. So with that, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce today's presenters from our education and training team, Sean Terry and Caitlin Walsh. Thanks, Sean and Caitlin.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited to talk about Engage and how to train your campus on Anthology Engage. So let's start off. We'll start by introducing ourselves, and I will give Caitlin the floor.
Hello, y'all. Great to be with you all this afternoon, this morning, evening, wherever you may be tuning in from. My name is Caitlin Walsh. I'm an education and training specialist with Anthology Academy, supporting Engage. Prior to joining about a year ago, I worked in student activities for about 8 years on campus. So I'm super jazzed about this topic. I loved using the Academy to train on campus, and I think you all have some great takeaways. I'll be monitoring the chat and the Q&A, so be sure to put your questions in the Q&A and chat along with us in the chat box. And I'm excited for you all to learn today. Thanks for joining us.
Yay, thanks, Caitlin. And hi, everyone. You're mostly going to be hearing a lot from me. My name is Sean Terry. I'm a principal education and training specialist here at Anthology. I've been here for over 4 years now. I've been working with Engage for over a decade. I was on campus in a whole bunch of different positions, in student activities, a whole bunch of places. Residence life, I could keep listing things. I've been all over student affairs. So I have a lot of experience in this area. I know, have a pretty good idea of what's going on campus. So I'm excited to share some ideas and thoughts about training with Engage, and then answer any questions that y'all might be having. So I'm going to be giving y'all some question prompts, and Caitlin's going to be hanging out with you in the chat. So like she said, just throw any questions or answers to the chat prompts right in there. Keep the conversation going. So happy to see it. I'm also going to go off camera for right now, but I'll be back on camera for Q&A at the end. Awesome. Cool. So let's start with today's topics. So the big question, why even train anybody on anything? Why does anyone have to know anything at all? So let's start there. And then we're going to talk about Training 101, kind of give you just like a crash course in this is a framework that you can use to apply to trainings anytime you're trying to teach someone something. Then we're going to go into how to leverage Engage for training, specifically how to use Engage to help support all of your efforts trying to teach everyone how to use it and be on the same page with what you're trying to do on campus. The next piece we're going to talk about are Anthology resources to help support that as well. So we have a lot of things already available to you right now today. You can log in and start using them. And we're going to share some of that stuff with you. And at the end, we're going to do a Q&A. Anything that Caitlin can't get to in the chat before then, or any specific questions that we want to kind of chew on a little bit after we talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Cool. So the first question that I'd love for y'all to start answering in the chat, what is your big training question or roadblock right now? So we're in that part of the year where we finished our weeks of welcome. Now the students have started figuring out who their executive boards are. They want to get into the system. They want to start putting in their events and making the stuff happen now that they have a pretty good idea of what the semester is going to look like for them. So now that you're getting ready for your training, what are some things that you're running through, like any pain points or anything that you're like, oh, how do I get around XYZ? We'd love to kind of discover that a little bit and explore that with you, see if we can help you figure those out. So the first thing, why train? The value of training and buy-in on campus, because these things go so hand in hand together, training and then also getting people to be on the bus with you. So the big thing is that communication is the foundation of every relationship. And notice that I say that communication is not the foundation of every good relationship, because if you have poor communication, you're going to have a very crumbly foundation that's not very good to build anything off of. So, and if you have strong communication, you're going to have a strong relationship and that stronger bond. So you really want to start off thinking about communication right from the get-go. Engage is a communication and collaboration tool for your entire institution. So with that, communication is going to be paramount. It helps everyone be on the same page. It's a consistent way to message. This is how we are using Engage. These are the features that I would love for you to use in XYZ ways, especially with those pieces like with Engage, planning events, or when it comes to student organization registration or anything like that. There's a lot of risk assessment that we're doing behind the scenes that maybe our students aren't aware of, but you need them to go through these processes and answer these questions and be prepared to answer these questions in the right way. So that's a big way to help everyone be on the same page, is to train them and be consistent. Knowledge is power. So the more that your team feels that they can use and get out of Engage, the more they will want to use it. Engage is nothing like a power saw, but it does make me often think of woodshop. So you walk into woodshop, it's this giant room filled with saws and very sharp implements, very, very scary. Oh my gosh, the teacher, he's maybe missing a knuckle or two, very intimidating. But you have that teacher there who's there to guide you through how to safely use the equipment so you can understand it, respect it, and not lose a knuckle or two. And that's kind of like what we're aiming to do with training. We're trying to take the scariness out of these tools so then you can utilize them and make something beautiful with them. So that's really what we're trying to aim for when we're doing training and thinking about the messaging around it. And straight up, sometimes people just don't know what they have access to. You might be walking into this role being a site manager for Engage, and it has already existed on the campus for many years before you've gotten here. And you might have people who have been doing consistent roles in the system and doing it the same way every single time, but then you come in, you're like, oh, we're going to switch things up a little bit. I just want to make sure that you know all of the tools, all of the reporting tools available to you. You don't have to just pull that one report. You can have access to all these other reports and information. Anytime I've worked with campuses before in the past, I was always really surprised if like, oh, you've been using Engage for 3 years and you didn't know that you could also pull out all these reports and get all this information on your organizations in Excel spreadsheets that you can then like make pivot tables and make it beautiful and have all your data visual for you. So that's definitely something that you want to help show people where all of these things are. Again, taking that intimidation, that bite out of it. Cool. So let's talk about training 101. This is going to be very much focused on like general training framework, just a few building blocks to get you started with just how to train people in a general way. So I love to start with goals because I believe that a failure to plan is a plan for failure. So really just starting off with a goal in mind, what am I trying to achieve, and having something to be a backboard to bounce your ideas off of is so helpful when you're in the planning phase, especially if you have 100 million things going on, which I know, especially at this time on campus, it's busy. It's busy to say the least. So SMART is a mnemonic term. And this can also apply to project management, not just training, but I'm a big fan of it. So you can, SMART is S for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for realistic, and T for timely. So let's explain this with an example. So I went through and I color-coded these pieces. The example goal is, by the end of the 2022-2023 academic year, we will increase Engage user logins by 10% from the 2021-2022 results. All right, so it's specific because we're specifically talking about we want to increase our Engage user logins. That is the thing. That is the whole center of the goal. Is it measurable? 10% from 2021, 2022 results? Well, we have our baseline. We know what the number is in 2021, 2022. And then with some basic math, we can know what 10% above that is. So is that attainable? Well, that 10% of the 300 logins we had last year when we had a soft launch of Engage is only 30 additional users. Yeah, I think we can do that. I think that we can take different tactics that we didn't try last year and get 30 more people logging in into Engage. Absolutely. 330, love it. We can absolutely get that done. Is it realistic? So sometimes you can have something be attainable, but it's not necessarily realistic for you to be able to know if you've attained it. So with realism piece, we want to make sure that it's something that we can easily report on. So it's realistic because this is related to our student engagement work, the whole reason that we're doing all of this. And we can report on it and engage, so we can actually track our progress with it. So both of those pieces, super realistic. And is it timely? You bet it is, because the 2022-2023 academic year has a date. It's on the calendar. It tells us when it ends. So we can just go right ahead, pick that date, on that date, set a calendar reminder. We're going to check back on this goal, see what our login number is, and did we achieve it? So that is a SMART goal, thinking about it in all the different ways. Just setting some basic goals and then using objectives to help you support those goals and as like your to-do list of achieving those goals is going to really help you. And if you're new to this goal setting, anything like that, you're probably going to have an annual report that you're going to do at the end of the year. If you have these really well thought out goals that are then supported by data, your boss is going to love you. You're going to look so fancy. So definitely think about it. Look into SMART goals. They're so helpful. Great. So now let's talk about the framework that we're going to use for training. It's the ADDIE model. So this is something that many of you have probably seen before. It is a great model for project management, for planning, how to use it, training. It just gives you a nice, easy step-by-step framework when sometimes it feels like, how do I take all of this stuff and make it into one easy to digest thing at the very end? So this is kind of the funnel that you're going to work everything through. So it first starts out with our analyze with A, then we move into design, and then we develop the thing, and then we implement the thing, we do it. And then the whole time we're evaluating, but your biggest evaluation step will be between implementation and analyzing and starting the whole cycle over again. Pardon me for one moment. And once so you're going to be continuously evaluating each step, just writing down. It doesn't have to be anything super next level Excel spreadsheets or anything like that. It could just be a simple, I have a piece of paper, I'm just writing a bullet point of my thoughts as I go through this whole process. And then I'm going to look at this piece of paper, not until the very end, when I'm going back to reanalyze everything. That's a totally acceptable way to do it. It doesn't have to be the end all be all at the very beginning. This is a way to help you work into it. So with our A analysis, some key questions that we really want to answer when we're in this analysis phase. What do I want to accomplish? Hopefully at this point, we have already written our SMART goals out, so we know what we want to accomplish. We know what our goal is. But how do I know that I actually achieved my objective? My objectives are those like checklist to-do pieces that support my goal to make sure that I can accomplish it. So how will I know? Will it be that I have everyone submitting all the events absolutely perfectly and I have to give nothing back for revisions? Is it going to be something that like I'm sending out surveys and knowledge checks throughout the semester after the training, and the responses from those will give me a general idea of if I achieved my objective? How do you want to make sure that your people learned what you wanted them to learn? So once you figure that out, that's what part of this phase is. Where are my sources of knowledge? So if Engage has already been on your campus for a little bit and you're new to your position, it's your first time having to train on Engage, what did they do last year? And who knows that information? Is that something where the person before me had like a great binder with all this information in it, and that's what I'm going to use? Is there someone in the office who attended the trainings or helped plan the trainings or was involved in them in some way? Where are these people? Where can I find them, and how do I extract that knowledge from them? and just try to do that fact-finding mission. It's a bit of a scavenger hunt sometimes, but I believe in you. I think you can do it. And definitely look for those written down pieces, and don't worry if you don't have any historical knowledge, but you're only focused on, I have no legacy information, I can only move forward. Well, some of your sources of knowledge are going to be the students and your collaborators who are going to help you and engage. Ask your future audience, what do you need to do to be successful as an organization leader? What are some day-to-day tasks that you're going to want to accomplish? That's going to tell you what's important to them. And that's very important to this analysis phase, because that's going to help drive what you're going to be talking about, because that's their motivation. That's what they're looking for. And you want to feed what they're looking for. And who do I need to train? Who is my audience? For Engage, it's mostly going to be people who are going to be in Engage and doing something like running an organization or helping run a branch, or they're going to be involved in student activities somewhere. They're going to help you with the administration of the system in some way. I don't think that you really need a lot of training for your general users, which is going to be most of the people logging in to Engage, but challenge by choice. You want to spread the gospel of Engage? Go for it. Not going to stop you. All right, our next step in ADDIE is design. This is when we're thinking through our logistics and our resources. So first of all, what are my resources? What do I have on hand? Do I have a budget to put towards this training? Do I have the ability to make like marketing materials or anything like that? What programs can I use? What timeline do I have available? Because time is a very, very important resource, and the one that you should analyze first. As you're figuring out your goals and what you want to accomplish, time is a commodity that you don't get back. So you want to make sure that you're planning that as one of your most important resources. What's my delivery method going to be? Am I going to be doing everything virtually? Is it going to be like a webinar style like we are in right now? Is it going to be in person, hanging out in a classroom? That means I have to get those spaces and the technology and make sure everyone brings their laptops if I want to. Am I going to do something hybrid? So am I going to use the Anthology Academy, have everyone go through the learning plans and learn all the things that they need to know about their role and how Engage works, and then only do 1 or 2 in-person sessions myself, where I'm talking about, okay, great, you learned how all the stuff works for Engage. Now let's just talk about how we want it to look on our campus, or here's some extra things that I want you all to consider when you are building things in Engage or communicating with students. So thinking through those pieces. How do I communicate with my audience? And this is a little thing you can keep in your back pocket. It's not always going to be 2-4-6, but I love the 2-4-6 plan. So 6 weeks out, you start building hype and you start saying like, oh, hey, so this is coming up, just so you know, save the date, be ready for it. So pumped. We're going to use Engage. It's going to help all of us be more organized. It's going to be the best. 4 weeks out, you get a little more concrete, maybe give them some more resources, keep building that hype. So excited about it. It's going to be fun. Just wait until you guys feel so organized, and you won't need to be thinking about all these things with Engage because it just automatically tracks it for us. Isn't that exciting? 2 weeks out, you can start sharing like links or other resources and be like, it is happening on this day at this time. Log into Engage and start exploring or start doing this. Give them something that's like, action is going to happen soon. Cannot wait. Be hyped about it. And then when it's actually time for them to make the action, that's when you send out your message of like the day that it's released, saying, log into Engage right now. Go start building your organizations. The first 20 organizations that log in and finish registration successfully will get an extra $20 in their budget, or an extra something that we can offer within your realm of your resources. So you can build things up that way. So think about the communication plan. Again, Engage is all about communication. And this is also when you're going to storyboard your lesson. Think broad strokes. If you're painting a portrait, you don't just start with doing the detail of the eye and then build out from there. First, you do your wash, and then you do your rough outline, and then you start refining from there and focusing in on different small pieces of the overall painting. So think about it that way. We're just trying to get our broad strokes of the rough outline of what we want everything to look like and put it into its rough order. Not totally putting it in concrete or stone yet, just thinking through it. So one thing to also think about is starting from something simple, a simple idea, and then building into something more complex. So if we're thinking about, we're trying to teach our organization admin about events, we want to start by logging in and finding events. Step one, you have to know how to at least do that. Step two, I want to know that you at least understand what the event experience is going to be like. Before you start creating events, you should know what it's like to be an event attendee. What are they clicking on? What questions are they going to have when they're doing this? Next, we're going to talk about how to actually submit an event. So now here's the part that I need from you as your org admin. Here's how I want you to submit your events and the information I want you to be able to give to me. And then the last piece is, how do we actually manage the event? The event is made. Now we can manage our attendance and all of the post-event details. So it just went from simple to complex, but it's something that you can do in just a few minutes. But you want to help build the knowledge, so when you teach them the next step, they already understand everything that they have to understand before that. Development. Make the thing. Make the thing. This is the doing part. So you go ahead, use your presentation program of choice, and complete the training. Make it happen. You've done all your planning, you've done all your analysis, now just make the thing. And while you're making the thing, I cannot stress how important accessibility is. Accessibility is so important. There's a lot of things, especially depending on the type of delivery method that you're using, whether it's in person or virtual. You want whatever you're putting all this effort into to be a resource for your entire audience. So there's some things that you need to consider. There's a lot of different things that might make it hard for someone to consume your content. Use this resource, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. WebAIM.org is a wonderful resource to go through. There's lots of tutorials and blog posts, and there's an accessibility or a contrast checker that I use on a near daily basis to make sure that there's enough contrast between the colors I'm using so people can actually read what I'm putting in front of them. So many things to think about when you're making content, and accessibility is huge. And a lot of people, their approach to accessibility is, well, I'll know that I'll need to change it when someone lets me know. The thing about that is that most people will not let you know unless they're very comfortable owning that space and giving you that feedback. But you're going to find that most people are going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to just struggle through the best I can with how much I can consume of this, and then hope it works out. So let's not put people in that position, because that's not fun for them, and it could have consequences for your process and how you actually want them to learn everything later on. So think about those things. Great and small. Accessibility, huge. And if you're using a Microsoft product, so like PowerPoint, if you go to the Review tab at the very top, you can click the accessibility checker. Most Microsoft products have these. So if you're building something in Word or Excel or PowerPoint, the accessibility checker's there, and it'll walk you through step by step and help you check everything. It's not absolutely perfect, and it won't cover everything, but it'll be a great place to start, if nothing else. All right, implement. Do the thing. Train your audience. You've done all the planning, you've made the thing, you've tested it, all that fun stuff. So now do it. And don't forget to breathe while you're presenting. That's just good advice. It's just nice to remember to breathe, be calm, be present. You're sharing knowledge with someone and your group of people. It's supposed to be a dialogue. So if you have that opportunity to have it be a dialogue, then absolutely please make it. And make sure to reflect on how it went immediately after it's done. So again, that might be just adding a couple bullet points to your list that you've been carrying around throughout this whole process. And you don't have to look at it. You don't have to do a full analysis or anything. Just write down thoughts, feelings, what went well, what didn't go well, when did I lose them, when were they really enthralled, all of that stuff. Just write it all down, and that can be future use problem to suss it out later. And when will that happen? Oh my God, while you're evaluating. So like I said before, evaluation is going to be a continuous process. You want to just keep reflecting during and after each stage. Is this right? Your teachers told you when you were in grade school to always check your work. Same goes with this. Always check your work. Evaluate it. Is this right? Am I going in the right direction? Is this the information I want to convey? All of that fun stuff. And your biggest evaluation piece is going to be right before you go back into analysis, right after the implementation. I recommend doing it soon as you can after implementation, so that way when you start the analysis process over again, the next semester starts or the next academic year starts and you have to do this training again, or someone does, they already have some place to start. You've already done a lot of the prepackaged stuff for them. It'll make everyone's lives a lot easier afterwards. And the biggest question, how do I know they learned what I need them to know? Again, think about how you want to do that. With Engage, there's some really fun ways that you can do that and build that into your process. So like you can send post training surveys, you can send out knowledge checks. Those are something that you can make as a form and then just email it out to people. And you can make it into your training hub, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So there's a way that you can build this into Engage, keep everything all in one spot, because that's going to be a big theme, is that you need to centralize absolutely everything. Having Post-its and things spread out for you might make a lot of sense to you, but if someone else is going to step into this role all of a sudden and have to jump into it, it's going to be more helpful for them if everything is all in the same spot. And luckily Engage is one of those products or one of those platforms that you can keep so many things all in one spot. So real quick, I want to talk about the Anthology Academy. I talked about this before when we were talking about if we want to be virtual, in person, do a hybrid thing. So in the Anthology Academy, if you don't know, is a resource that every Engage client has access to. Every Engage client can log into the Anthology Academy. Go to anthology.com/academy. Go log in, have a great time, start perusing all the great stuff. You have all the access to essential level content. That's like fresh out of the box, how to everything. There's tons of videos, we have some guides in there, all that fun stuff. It's really just plug and play. You can send people specific links of, oh, you're using the news feature. Here's the link to that video. Go ahead and use it. So yes, please check out the Anthology Academy. You already have access to it. It's already there. It's already included. So live it, love it, learn it. If you want to move on from that, there's the Enhanced Plus subscriptions. So they give you access to custom learning plans, live events. You can even have your own instance of the Academy within the Academy that you have a lot of control and insights into. So the subscription tiers are huge. They really take it from basic how to learning how the tool works and elevates you up into that next level of like moving towards champion, of how do I really leverage the use of Engage? How do I learn more about it? And then also a whole bunch of other stuff. You have access to product agnostic stuff or stuff that doesn't relate to specific products, but more could be professional development, maybe about assessment, anything like that. So much is coming up, and so much is already in there that it's definitely worth checking out for sure. And October is a huge month for us because we have the new and improved Academy is launching in early October around the 9th. So be on the lookout for that. There's going to be tons of customization and filtering in that. I'll talk about that a little later. So definitely keep an eye out for that. We also have licensed training materials. Engage is one of our products that we are launching this with. So licensed training materials are basically pre-formatted workshops and training for specific user roles, where you get to take that information and add your own flair, jazz it up, take information out, put information in that's specific to you and the way that you want your process to look. And it's very DIY chic. Love it. It's great. So we give you a nice blank shell and then you make it your own on top of it. So that's, if you're someone who really likes to have control over the messaging, that's a great option for you. Awesome. And these are just the different tiers that I was talking about. So essential, all that stuff's included, unlimited users, on-demand implementation training content, all that stuff. Enhanced, moving into the best practices, how do I get the most out of Engage, all that fun stuff. And then Enhanced Plus adds in those live events and the ability to make your own academy within the academy and all that other fun stuff. We're also going to, we also have badging and certifications and all those other things just around the bend. So super exciting. Can't wait for you to join us. All right, so now let's bring it back into specifically Engage. How do I use Engage for my training? How do I make it my training bestie? So what are some ways you have used Engage for training? Feel free to put it into the chat. I would love to hear some new ideas. I'm going to share some that I had, but I want to hear what you all have done before. I love hearing new crafty ways of using Engage. So let us know in the chat. So starting off with the basics, do not forget about your organization statuses and organization types. These are so useful when planning through your process with how you're going to organize your organizations, especially if you're a larger institution and you have tons of organizations that you have to go through this training process and stratify into who's compliant, who's not compliant, who's half compliant, all of that fun stuff. So these are going to be huge, huge, huge uses to you. So organization statuses, you have 4 statuses that you can have. Active, checks all the boxes, good to go. You have access to all the things. Then you have frozen, which means that it's hidden in the directory, but still accessible by members and officers. So that's like our general users can't find you yet, but the organization officers and admin can go in there and they can make updates and make it up to snuff, so then it can be shared with the rest of the directory and general users. Locked means only administrators can use it. Totally locked up, can't access it. And inactive, that's just taking the organization, cleaning it in a nice box, putting a little bow on it, and popping it on the shelf for later use. But currently, no one's going to be able to use it. When someone revives that a year or two down the road, pull it off the shelf, take off the bow, boom, instant organization. Gotta love it. So these are different ways that you can kind of control how organizations are visible and what access the members and officers have to them. And the second piece of this are the organization types. So these are the big folders or buckets that you're going to put your organizations into. And I have seen campuses use these in so many ways. One of the ways that I really loved was that they had like hundreds of student organizations, and they had it by tier. So tier 1 is everyone starts at tier 1. You have access to your description and your wall, but you can't make any events or anything yet, but you can register and do your roster and all that fun stuff. But you can't actually host anything yet. And then once you go through our trainings, you graduate up to tier 2. So now you can plan events and you can have access to a couple more features available in that that tier, that organization type. And then if the organization's fully compliant, or maybe they're an extra large organization who has some extra special rules associated with them, they can be either tier 3 or they're in their own organization type. It's a way that you can build this in of, I want to build motivation into you working with the system because I have to work within the system and I want all of us to be happy and not sued. So please work with me. Let's all work together. And you can use organization types and organization statuses to encourage that system. So huge, I mentioned this earlier, totally love this idea. Use it for not only training, but you can use this for a lot of other things. But I love a resource hub. I love centralizing everything. I love keeping my information all in the same spot. So if I have a question that's generally related to student organizations, running my student organization, planning an event for my student organization, or some really great information that you gave us in training, I know exactly where I'm going to go because it's all in this one spot. So create an organization that's only available to organization leaders. This depends on how transparency works with your culture on campus and the people that you're working with. It also depends on how much you want to manage. If you make it only available to organization leaders, that means that you're managing the roster to have up to date with organization leaders. Depending on how you run your process, that could be a really great option for you because you can make it that's a like exclusive, very VIP club. And then after that, we set the organizations to invite only. We keep the organization executive boards on the roster, like I was saying, and encourage them to keep up with their registration and roster management and to communicate those changes to you when they happen. So that can also be a way of like, oh, we have a new treasurer. They need access to the resource hub so they can access that form that you want us to submit things through, or so they can have access to that, documentation or the training that you want them to go through, so they can be our full treasurer. You can also store all of your job aids and guides. If you've used documents before, it's great that you can have all these folders and you can store all of your files into those folders and access things that way. So try to use your hub as a repository of all this information. Keep it all in one spot. You can also store your training and meeting recordings. You can share those right into the gallery. You first have to host them on YouTube or Vimeo, but then you can pop them right in and then have them on demand for later use. And then also, if you have everyone in the training hub and you are using the roster, you can then use that for message relays or news. I like the news approach because it keeps a relic in the hub if you're trying to give out special information, and it has a little box when you create the news through the hub that says notify all members when you post it, and it'll boom, send a little notification, little message to everyone saying, hey, we have new information I really want you to look at. Go to the hub, read this article. Thank you so much. So definitely think about making your resource hub very helpful. Host your training meetups and engage. So make an event for each training session, have it hosted by your training hub or your centralized body, and have all of the trainings associated with that planned through that organization and host them all right in Engage. As people might say, it's drinking your own champagne that you made, or you might have heard eating your own dog food. Whatever floats your boat, but definitely try to keep people coming into Engage, because that's the goal, is to keep them using Engage. So use Engage. It's every step of the process. It helps them feel more comfortable with it. Take it a step even further, make a monthly recurring meeting for organization representatives. So someone needs to attend the monthly reoccurring something. So this could be virtual, it could be in person, however you want to run it. And people can attend that on behalf of their organization. So when you're creating the event, you can say, all right, you can say that you are coming from Bio Club. As long as an executive board member from Bio Club shows up, then Bio Club is marked attending and your organization's in good standing. Just need one person out of the 6 of you. So that's something that you can do that keeps the communication lines open. You can keep revisiting training things. You can, just keep talking. Keep the conversation going. You don't want training to be a one and done kind of thing, because then it just becomes a checkbox on a to-do list and not something that's always going to be front of mind or something that they're going to have to think that they have to revisit. And you can share important updates, relevant follow-up training is needed. That's just a really great use of that time. And you want to be the goalie a little bit. So what I mean with this is that you want to build guardrails that give your students a straight shot to success, and just build in some bumpers there to help them guide their way in, no matter what direction they want to go in. So one way to do that is mandate attendance at training and meetings in order to receive the resources. So going back to tiering those organizations or building in those checks of compliance. And you can build automatic buy-in and motivation for attending and completing training. Sometimes, especially with large populations, it can be hard to find one point of motivation. But if you gotta is a piece of motivation, then that's something that they can all share together. And again, this is all coming from the place of I'm not trying to tell you what to do or make your life harder. I'm doing this so all of us can have an easier time. I spend less time managing your organizations. You spend less time spent managing your organizations, and we let Engage do all of that great automatic stuff that it already does for us. So this is one way that you can kind of build this in. After the second year of doing it, it's going to feel second nature to your campus. And using position terms on your position template so users can agree to campus policies or commit to a training plan. And you can also send out notifications if you're seeing that people are not responding back or accepting their terms. There's a couple different things that you can do, like resetting them, adding a new user to the template, anything like that. So definitely use those position terms. They give you a nice red flag of, oh, this person hasn't read their position terms. I'm not sure that they know what to do their job, or, oh, this might be a new person. You can go in there and help them. Awesome. So next, co-curricular paths. talk about building guardrails and making a clear path to success. That is what co-curricular paths is all about. So we want to create a student organization leader path. So a path forward that's going to include all of my training sessions. And if you go to that session, then you get credit for it and it gets added to your path. Love it. You can use path items for additional requirements like hosting or attending other events. You can ask them to use a certain category when they plan their event and include that in them actually attending, all those other pieces. Anything that's tracked in Engage or organization membership, anything like that, that can be fed into the path as criteria. You can also use forms for knowledge checks. So you can ask people to fill out forms or respond to things. Again, another piece that you can tie into the path. And use self-reported experiences and experience types for non-event progress updates. So anything that might not be tracked in the system, but you want to make sure that they, handed in something specific or had a conversation with their advisor, anything like that. You can add those in as specific pieces for this path. And if you're new to paths, co-curricular paths is a way to line up and use Engage to track the success of a program, long-term program, something long form. And this can apply in a whole bunch of ways. But this leadership path or a student success path is a wonderful way to help your students step by step and show them what the steps are, kind of give them a syllabus for success outside of the classroom. So definitely look into paths. It's a great way to set it up. And my favorite part, it tracks the progress for you. A lot of the maintenance happens in Engage, and Paths does it. They attend a thing, and then you just have to approve it and be like, all right, great, yeah, they did that thing, good job. So easy for you, especially as an admin. So definitely look into co-curricular paths, highly recommend. All right, so that's utilizing Engage. I wanted to give you all, I've been hyping up launching the Academy, so I'm going to give you a super quick preview because I'm coming close to time, and I want to make sure that we can talk through some questions. So first of all, this is the new Academy. As an Engage user, I love this. This feels very Engage to me. I love the interface. This is your dashboard where you get access to all of your courses that you started, that you saved for later, the live events you want to attend, the courses you completed, edit your profile. You can filter all this stuff. Love it. It's so helpful, so clean. Love it. On the home, if you just log right in and you can jump right into content. No more clicking through multiple areas and trying to navigate to content. Just go right here, search bar, filter by product, find everything that you're looking for. We'll also have our events area where you can preview events. You can get more information about events. It tells you how many sessions are involved in it, and be on the lookout because we have our new Engage live stream lounge coming up and other live events for Academy subscribers. So if you love events like this, showing up, asking your questions, having your questions answered, definitely check those out because that is what we're all about, spreading the knowledge of Engage. You can also get course previews. You can know whether or not it's just one on-demand activity or a whole long-form course that might be more involved or have more resources supporting it. And then if you look over on the right, you have your subscription status. So you can always know what access to what content you have. So maybe your campus has multiple products, multiple anthology products. You can know which ones you have access to and what kind of access you have. So don't forget that Enhanced Plus areas where the live events are happening. In Enhanced, you get to see some of the stuff from the live events, but not actually participate. So think about really going for that Enhanced Plus because you get so much out of it. It's such a big boon. We've had a lot of campuses really love it. So coming soon to the Anthology Academy, we have our new Academy coming out in October. Huge month, can't wait. Keep an eye out. That's going to be coming out in a couple weeks. Same thing with our live events. Those are going to be kicking off in late October, early November. And we're going to be having our live stream lounge, which is talking about a whole bunch of stuff around Engage. We're going to have our deep dive instructor-led topics where it's like going in and talking about every detail about a feature. Love it. And we're always making more content. So our library is constantly growing. So definitely check it out. And then we have licensed training materials also coming up in October. It's that DIY workshops. We did 2/3 of the work. You just put in the last third to make it your own and share freely. And we do a lot of the updates. So anytime something updates in Engage, we're going to update those materials for you as well. And more. So much is on the horizon. I wish I could keep telling you, but I can't. So just stay tuned because we have so much more to share. The Anthology Academy, so fun. Love the purple color scheme. Very chill. And here's an idea of the subscription tiers again. Essential, you already have that. Go right in and click. Enhanced, highly recommend. Best practices stuff. A lot of on-demand live things. And then in the Enhanced Plus, that's where you get your bread and butter. You get all the fun stuff, all the bells and whistles. You can make your own academy. You can do credentialing. You can do all of this fun stuff and participate in all of our live events right on it with us if you want. So keep an eye out. Ask your local anthologist if you have any questions about this. We'd be so happy to answer. I also wanted to point everyone towards the anthology community. This is a great place to go and talk to other people, other admin who are working on Engage. So go in here, we post blogs, we post a whole bunch of fun stuff. So go check out that content too, and go learn from your peers. And we also have the idea exchange. So if you've been using Engage and you're like, I would really love it if XYZ. Take that XYZ and put it right into the idea exchange. We want to hear our product managers, our developers, all of them, they're reading these ideas and the conversations that are happening around these ideas and really exploring them. So we would love for you to have a voice in our products. So please go to the idea exchange, click on it, love it. It's so easy to make an account. So we hope that you take advantage of that. Again, all of this stuff is already included. You already have this. You just have to go to those links that are being posted in the chat and jump right in. All right, cool. So that I've done so much talking, but we still have like about 12 minutes in case anyone wanted to talk. I'll come back on camera. And what do we have any questions that we'd like to go through?
Sean, great content. Thank you for sharing with everyone. There's been some great chatting. I wanted to share somebody's thought on one of the challenges they were facing and see if maybe we can chat through some feedback. If you have any additional thoughts that you didn't cover so far, Sean. So somebody shared how to share or create training materials with different campus partners to make it accessible for all. I loved your news post idea. Is there anything you wanted to share on this kind of topic about sharing and making it accessible to all campus partners? Any other thoughts?
Yeah.
I shared in the chat maybe documents, but didn't elaborate much on that yet.
Yeah, you can use documents. If it's something where you have a really active, engaged community, you have those 3 alerts right on your homepage, and you can add links into that. So that can be, hey, are you a student organization leader? Click this link to learn more information, and that links right back to your news post. So it's keeping it engaged, also gives you something to link back to, and that puts it right on the homepage, which is great. And I'd also think about using your message relays. So to make a message relay, you go in, you click, depending on what level you want to make it at, and then you select who you want involved in it. It gives you a nice email address to send everything to. You pop that into Outlook or whatever tool you're using, send it out to everybody who fits that criteria, and it is so helpful. So definitely recommend at least those 2 pieces.
I love that reminder about the alerts because you can have 3 up at a time. So especially if there's even times throughout the year where you're maybe not promoting an event or another kind of more time sensitive thing. Love the idea of linking back to some of those trainings you have living in other places. It never hurts to have a couple extra reminders on the homepage.
Oh yeah, especially when you have so much stuff going on. Like I have 3 events today, I have another event tomorrow, and then a whole series of events starting next week. I could use a notification every now and then. Never hurts to have a reminder.
We have some great ideas about how people are doing training on their campus in the chat. So I hope you get a chance to check that out, Sean.
Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna have to dive in.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, be sure to put those in the Q&A block, or the chat is very active, so you can put them in the chat as well. I mean, we can, wrap those up. So we'll give everybody a little bit to add anything else in the chat before we wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that last question, I know that we're talking about accessibility of like letting everyone know that it happens, but just in case we're also talking about accessibility in the way that it's can be digested by everyone, definitely go to that webaim.org website that we shared earlier in the presentation. There's so many resources and guides there. And if accessibility can be intimidating if you're new to creating content or new to the concept, but it is so easy. And once you learn the rules, it just becomes automatic as you make things. The alternative is plug everyone into the Academy, because we've already done a lot of accessibility planning. We've done all of the content. We have subject matter experts that know the subject in and out. We've already explained it super well in a very clear way that's also accessible. So think about that as a tool that you can use. And again, all of those videos already included, you already have access to them. So you don't have to worry about doing the extra budget or anything at this time until you want to get Enhanced or Enhanced Plus. Then definitely think about it. It's fantastic.
Thanks for the reminder about WebAIM. I know you shared that with me, and I have a bookmark on my browser. Would definitely recommend everybody check that out. It's a great resource. Even if you're just need to double check yourself on something, everything is on there and will be really helpful in your training creations for sure. I don't have any new questions or new thoughts at the moment. So anything else to wrap us up, Sean?
No, I'm going to take that no questions as like, I guess I explained everything perfectly. And there you go. That's it. I'll take it as a compliment. But if you all do have any questions or you want to learn more about the Academy or anything like that, go to the Academy website. You can also email academy@anthology.com. If you have any questions like that you'd like to point in our direction, we'd be happy to help you out. And as always, you can contact support and they can direct anyone anywhere. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Let's keep the conversation going. We're active in the community and in the idea exchange. So look for us there, and keep an eye out for all the exciting stuff starting in October for Education Services and the Anthology Academy. And thank you so much, Caitlin.
Thank you, Sean. And thanks everybody for joining us.
Bye, y'all.